When I went on what I call my vision quest, I read a lot about cultivating joy and happiness. I studied with some amazing teachers, and I took the Science of Happiness course at UC Berkeley, which I loved. I will tell you some of the most profound things I learned. The words joy and happiness are often used interchangeably, but there is a difference between them. Happiness is described as being dependent on external circumstances. All too often, happy feelings are fleeting. The Dalai Lama says happiness is like a butterfly that lands on us and then flutters away. Eating a piece of key lime pie or getting a new phone might make us feel happy for a time, but this is a type of satisfaction that is not lasting. Happiness is associated with feelings of the senses and emotional response. I love and recommend the Book of Joy. In it, the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu are interviewed about joy versus happiness, as well as how to find joy. They explain that joy comes from within. It's a more enduring feeling that persists no matter the circumstance. Joy is a deep feeling of contentment. It is cultivated over a lifetime and can even be born from suffering. I think the third of life is a wonderful time for cultivating joy. Happiness is more about getting what you want in the moment, more momentary and ephemeral. So yes, I seek happiness in any given moment, but what I really hope to cultivate is a sense of ongoing joy. For the purposes of this course, though, I often use the word happiness as an encompassing term that includes more enduring, positive, and uplifting emotions, including joy. I think spending a little time on definitions makes sense. In fact, one of the first lectures in the Science of Happiness course is how scientists define and measure happiness. Dr. Keltner is one of the primary professors for the class. He says that being happy could refer to many things: a sense that life is going well, a fleeting emotion, as we said, a trait we possess, or even a sensation. Scientists often focus on the first two aspects, life satisfaction and positive affect, which combine to form something called subjective well-being. Before the late 17th century, happiness was considered to be the result of luck or divine favor. And then in the 17th and 18th centuries, new thinking arose about happiness, and it was now declared to be a right, as in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in the United States Declaration of Independence. Of course, happiness is not the appropriate emotion in all circumstances. Negative emotions are normal and sometimes appropriate. Anger, sadness, fear, and even grief all have roles to play. By expressing and coping with our true feelings, we face our emotions. For example, when we are grieving, we allow ourselves to accept and deal with our loss. Then we will be able to move forward and continue with a much more positive and accepting outlook because we have effectively processed our emotions. I learned some very enlightening things in the Science of Happiness course. One of the most profound things I learned is that we can increase our happiness and joy in life. Scientists have discovered that people have a genetic set point, which accounts for about 50% of our happiness. I found it very fascinating that some part of our happiness is determined by genetics, and yet the more I thought about it, doesn't that ring true? There are people who tend to look at the world with more positivity throughout their whole life, and others who don't. And that outlook seems to be a deep and enduring part of them. I found it shocking to learn that only 10% of your happiness level is dictated by your life circumstances. I thought it would be a much higher percentage. We'll talk about that and some of the implications. But here's the big, exciting finding that made me stop and think. A whopping 40% of your happiness can be changed by intentional activity. Think about that for a moment. That is pretty amazing. You can change your happiness level. How? Through the development of relationships, philanthropy, optimism, savoring, mindfulness, physical activity, spirituality, and goal pursuit. So you might ask, well, if there's a formula to increase happiness and the pathway to do it is known, then why doesn't everyone do this? Great question. Maybe a part of your purpose will be a happiness or joy evangelist who can help other people cultivate more positive emotions. In this course, you will experience some of the specific exercises so that you can cultivate greater well-being, happiness, and joy. So that is the really big news. You can increase your happiness. So for right now, let's dive into one simple way to do this. Barbara Fredrickson is featured as one of the researchers in the Science of Happiness class. She does research on noticing our emotions and interactions throughout the day. And she encourages us to review the events of our day and determine what made us feel positive and what made us feel negative. When we experience positive feelings, joy, awe, happiness, etc., we broaden our awareness of our surroundings. Our repertoire of thoughts and actions expands, which allows us to build new skills and resources, increasing our resilience and ultimately our chances for survival. She wrote a book called Positivity, where she suggested ways that people could cultivate positive emotion in their lives in order to reap their many benefits. To become more positive, she suggests trying to be more open, appreciative, kind, curious, authentic, and sincere. She talks about that great feeling of connection when we feel drawn to another person. You know that feeling when you meet someone and you feel like you sync up with each other. If you have ever been engrossed in conversation with another person, you know that feeling of connection like, oh, I am making a new friend here. Researchers have shown that the brains of people who engage in this way are actually firing in the same patterns, in the same parts of the brain, almost simultaneously. This kind of mirroring creates a positivity resonance, a shared emotion that can make you feel alive and invigorated. Barbara Fredrickson also authored a simple homework assignment I like, and I would like to ask you to try it for a few days, and here it is. It's called 3 Good Things. In your art journal, spend 5 or 10 minutes for the next few days remembering 3 good things that happened during the day. This teaches you to seek out and savor positive things, and it has been shown to increase happiness up to 6 months later because your descriptive writing about what happened makes you remember that good positive feeling and you savor it. So what are 3 good things that happened for you today? Here are mine. Though it is 100 degrees here today, it was cool this morning, and I had a great walk noticing the sunrise, which was kind of orangey red, the trees and flowers and birdsong and fresh air, and just enjoying nature. I had a great email exchange with an old colleague, and we reminisced about a crazy work incident that we handled together that made us laugh. We are going to a party with some of our neighbors tonight to wish them well before they begin traveling, and I'm looking forward to seeing them and wishing them bon voyage. So I really love this simple 3 good things exercise, and I resonate with the lessons. It is a gratitude practice. Noticing daily life, even the simplest of things, creates a ripple of appreciation that radiates out and seems to generate even more abundance. So please try it, and I'll be interested to hear your feedback about 3 good things. And next, we will learn where the saying, "no whining on the yacht," came from.